3 takeoffs and landings, then come back and pick them up.
Oh.
And then I'm good. So, all right, so we're gonna do run up. So doors are closed and locked. Flight controls, right, left, back, rudder, okay. Flight controls, fuel selectors on both. Trim is neutral. Mixture is rich. Throttle up to 1700. I'm looking right here. All right, so now I'm going to set the mixture. So I turn it back until I feel it. I see a drop in RPM. Right there, and then I turn it back a little bit. And that's right where it should be. Throttle, let's see, magnetos. That should drop about around 100, which it does, 100 or less. That one also is good. Carb heat. So that the RPM should drop when you do carb heat. That way when you're coming down, the carburetor doesn't get ice in it. You can pull the carb heat and get rid of that. Let's see. Okay, that's working. Vacuum gauge is in the green. Throttle idle, which sounds fine. Back to 1,000. Flaps are up. Transponder is alt. Landing light on, strobe light. Okay. Provo ground, Cessna 738 Juliet Delta is leaving the run-up area.
Cessna 8 Juliet Delta, Provo ground, roger. Cessna 229er Whiskey Charlie, Provo Tower. Runway 13, wind calm, cleared for the option.
Man, you never get wind calm. It's so nice today.
Usually they tell you like wind so many, is it knots or miles per hour?
Yeah. They tell you the direction and the speed and knots.
What's the distance this thing could probably do?
Well, it burns around 8 to 10 gallons an hour, and it holds about 38 gallons. So 3 hours, 3.5 hours.
And this distance is relevant to the flying conditions.
Yeah, if you're going against the wind, you'll go slower. Like when we were flying over towards your house over the lake, we had a 15 knot headwind, so we were going at about 100 miles an hour over the ground. But you can get going 120, 130 in this if you're going with the wind or if the wind's calm or something, you know. It's not super strong. It's got a 160 horsepower engine, this plane. The one I learned on had a 180, so it was a little bit faster, but this one's just nice. I like the glass cockpit, and it's really stable and handles well. All right. Provo Tower 738 Juliet Delta is holding short of runway 13, ready for takeoff.
Cessna 738 Juliet Delta, Provo Tower, hold short of runway 13, landing traffic.
Holding short of runway 13, waiting for traffic. 738 Juliet Delta.
So is the N just kind of a precursor for
any plane in North America
will have N on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Canada has C. So so it's the country.
And then you just find these rentals here, I guess? Is that just, and then you just pay for the time?
Yeah. Before I can rent, whoever owns the plane will send me up with a certified flight instructor for like an hour, and that flight instructor will make sure I know how to fly the plane, and he'll make me do stalls and know that I can recover from a stall. That's when you go like this, nose up until it starts dropping. So they need to know you can do that. They need to know you can land and you know, do turns and stuff like that. And then once they check you out,
miles to the southeast
then you can just
field,
rent it.
8,500 inbound for landing, 100 Delta.
This one's owned by a place called
Archer 2819 Delta Bravo Tower. Say again your
Pilot
position.
Makers up in Heber.
Or 9 miles now to the
Just keep it down
southeast,
here.
or actually I think we're just barely to the east at 8,500.
Archer 19 Delta, are you coming through Hobble Creek Canyon?
No,
You put your toes to brake.
19 Delta, that would be
And
to the northeast.
so when you're
and,
landing, you
enter
keep your
left
toes
base for
up.
runway 13
You do your
and
hills
report
so you don't
turning
like
final.
skid the tires.
One left base will report turning final for 13 Delta.
So 738 Juliet Delta Bravo Tower, runway 13 clear for takeoff.
Runway 13 cleared for takeoff. Cessna 738 Juliet Delta.
Cessna 9 Whiskey Charlie, say departure intentions.
Request a left turn departure, 229 Whiskey Charlie.
9 Whiskey Charlie, left turn out, eastbound's approved, and are you going to go back northwest towards Salt Lake?
Affirmative, 229 Whiskey Charlie.
9 Whiskey Charlie, proceed eastbound to the freeway, and then northwestbound along the freeway is approved.
Roger that, eastbound to the freeway, and then northwestbound over the freeway, 229 Whiskey Charlie.
And we want to get up to 55 knots before we take off, and I'm looking right there. So airspeed's alive, gauges are in the green. And then once we're in the air, I aim for 73 knots for climb. And if I go over, I pitch up a little bit and it slows me down, you know. And if I'm going too slow, then I pitch down. You always take off and you stay over the runway until you get to the height that you want to turn. Provo Tower, can I be cleared for a left turnout? 738 Juliet Delta.
So St. Juliet Delta, left turnout's approved. Are you going to go east or are you going to go northwestbound?
I'm going to go east over BYU area and then back over to the west, over the lake.
So St. Juliet Delta, roger.
See these things? That's another plane right there. He's 800 feet above us, heading that way. So he's like right over there.
Cessna 9 Whiskey Charlie, as you turn northwestbound along the freeway, traffic's 1 o'clock moving to 12 o'clock, 3 miles, right to left. A Cherokee, altitude indicates 6,200. He's just passing over the UVU campus.
Roger that, looking for that traffic, 229 Whiskey Charlie.
Cherokee 19 Delta, did you want a full stop or a touch and go?
Like a touch and go, 19 Delta.
Cherokee 19 Delta, runway 13, cleared touch and go.
Clear touch and go, 19 Delta.
Pretty cool, huh?
It's very cool.
Cessna 9 Whiskey Charlie, the traffic's no longer a factor, 11 o'clock in a mile and lower. And you can contact Salt Lake Approach 118.85 for VFR flight following. Have a good flight.
118.85, thank you guys, 229 Whiskey Charlie.
Anybody that they call Wolf are UVU students. They have their call signs for each person, and it's not, has nothing to do with their tail number on their plane. It's just the person has a Wolf number. So anytime you hear Wolf, that's a UVU student. We'll go fly over BYU Stadium.
Yeah. So is the flight time kind of like getting there time? That's probably the expense, right?
Yeah, they charge you for the prop time. So, well, it's actually as soon as you turn the power on and all the power starts coming on, and then when you turn it off, it stops. So it's called Hobbs, H-O-B-B-S time. This is the meter here. And so you have to see what the meter is before you start, and then when you end, and then that's what they charge you for.
Is it expensive?
This plane, including the gas, so they call it wet. They say it's $140 an hour wet, right? So that includes gas. You don't have to pay extra for that. And so that's typical for a single engine plane around that. Depends on the plane and how nice it is or new. You know, like if you get another plane that's a little bit nicer or newer, it'll cost you more per hour. But 135, 140 an hour is pretty much cheapest. I know there's one in Spanish Fork you can rent for 90 an hour, but it's not as nice, and it's pretty, you can only barely fit 2 people in it for weight, you know. Got a weaker engine. All right, you see the stadium there, Colin?
Yeah. Colin, you see the stadium over there? BYU Stadium? You see BYU Stadium right there? BYU Stadium. Right there.
Here, we'll do a circle around it. I didn't do a turn with those guys.
Cherokee 19 Delta, say request.
I'd like to depart to the west, 19 Delta.
Cherokee 19 Delta, right turnout westbound's approved.
Right turnout through 19 Delta, thanks.
Pretty fun. That's cool, huh?
That is way cool. So used to commercial airlines that they move so stinking fast you can't see anything. So
I know. I'm going to climb a little higher because going over the lake, I want to make sure that I'm high enough to glide to the edge if we have an engine problem, you know. So I kind of try to stay close enough to the edge where I know I can glide, or get up high so I know I can glide, you know.
mm-hmm.
So we got, see those planes there? They're about our level, but they're heading, that one's heading that way, over I-15 to Salt Lake. This one looks like it's over Pleasant Grove area. ...200 feet below us.
Archer 19 Delta, frequency change approved. If you'd like VFR flight following Salt Lake approach,
I've flown that
118.85.
Archer 19 Delta.
Thanks, have a good day, 19 Delta.
That one belongs to Randon School that I learned from. So we're actually out of Provo's airspace right now. We're up above it. It ended at 7,000. I'm going to kind of come over this way, swing around so you can see your house. It's cold when you get up high.
Yeah.
See, we're burning about 9.3 gallons per hour. You want to go up and over that mountain, or do you want to stay on this side and see your house and go over the lake, or?
Doesn't matter. If you want to go over the mountain, I'm fine to do that.
Oh, was that for us? I didn't hear that. Provo Tower, was that for us? 73 Julie Delta.
Cessna Juliet Delta, affirmative. Frequency change approved. Before you go, there's traffic north 4 miles. Maneuvering altitude indicates 7,100, type unknown.
All right, I'll watch for the traffic. Thanks, 73 Juliet Delta.
That wind?
Yeah, see this little thing right here, or the ball?
Uh-huh.
I want to keep that in the middle, and so I always push the rudder on the side that the ball goes towards. And so, yeah, see, the higher we go, the more bumpy it gets.
Uh-huh.
So it looks like if we get up here, I'm guessing it's a little bit of a wind shear because of the inversion. As soon as you get up past the inversion, a lot of times there's a wind shear and it changes direction. So you get a little bit of turbulence. That's probably what that is.
So did we just climb through it?
Yeah, we just passed through it. We're still climbing.
I'm guessing there's like insurance as a pilot to do this stuff, right? Is that affordable, or is it?
I haven't actually bought any yet because the places that I rent from actually carry insurance.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't be 100% covered, but mostly. But it's fairly cheap. It's like $100 a year.
Oh, that's not bad.
Not bad. It's called renter's insurance. If you get your own plane, it's a little different. You get different kind of insurance. Just like car insurance, you know.
Mm-hmm. So you definitely have to get to know your plane then.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of stick with a few planes that you want to get to know and just fly those, and then you're better off, you know. If you get your own plane, that's the best, if you can afford it. Look at that inversion over there. That's terrible.
I mean, we just had a storm, so that's crazy that it's that heavy already.
Yeah, a lot of smog. See this little section that says 120, 100? The bottom, that little section is Salt Lake City International Airspace, and it starts at 10,000 and goes up to 12,000. So I don't want to go into that, so I want to make sure if I go into that little block, I stay below 10,000. And that one's 9,000, I want to stay below, you know. So we're pretty much right over your house right now. I'll turn so you can see it off your side. You see your house there?
You see our house, Colin? There's our house down there.
See that plane right there?
Oh, yeah. There's one right below us.
A plane?
Yeah, just barely underneath us.
Yeah, he's about 2,000 feet, 1,900 feet below us, it looks like. There's that one that just passes is about 1,300 feet above us. Now it's 1,200 feet.
And Wolf UVU, was that Wolf 8? 1236 for Rovo ground. Runway 13, taxi via Alpha, Bravo, Alpha cross, runway 18, advise leaving the run-up.
So normally, I try to stay away from mountains. Today is nice. There's not a lot of wind, because when you get wind coming over the mountains, it creates some chop, you know, and it gets turbulent and some uplift, depending on which way the wind's going, but it's not too bad today. Right up at the top of this mountain is what's called a VOR. It's one of the airplane navigational devices that we use to navigate. It's right up on top,
Provo
over on
Tower,
that far side.
82 Alpha uniform at 8,500 feet over Pleasant Grove.
Hey, sounds like my buddy.
Extra 82 Alpha uniform, Provo Tower, Provo altimeter is 3019er.
3019er, we have information, Lima. We'd like to come in and just do a touch and go.
November 2 Alpha Lima, correction 2 Alpha uniform, Provo Tower, ident.
Ident.
November 2 Alpha uniform, ident observed, make straight in runway 13, report a 3-mile final.
Straight in 13, report 3-mile final, extra 82 Alpha uniform.
Yeah, that guy talking. He and I got our license 2 weeks apart. I got it, and then 2 weeks later he got his. We learned at the same place. We go flying together sometimes. His name's Richard.
Bravo Tower, helicopter 345 Delta Juliet at the mouth of Bravo Canyon, inbound for TAC Air with information, Lima.
Helicopter 345 Delta Juliet, Provo Tower, report a mile north.
Quarter mile north, helicopter 5 Delta
That
Juliet.
guy's tail number sounds like
5
mine.
Delta Juliet,
It's Delta
I-52
Juliet.
Lima.
It's like,
Yes, sir, Lima.
Thank you, sir.
Are there little airports then all over the place that you can land at?
yeah.
Are there?
Tooele, if we go around the mountain, we can go to Tooele. There's one just airport number 2, you know, South Valley. There's one in Nephi, one in Spanish Fork. I've flown down to Manti. They have one in Richfield, Fillmore. Yeah, they have them all over.
What kind of time do you make to like Richfield or Manti?
It takes probably an hour each way to Richfield. Manti is probably just under an hour, like 45 minutes from Provo. I did lots of practicing right here. This is a practice area where you come get training when you're learning. Lots of pilots come out here and do training because it's just open.
What's that?
What town is that?
That's Eagle Mountain.
Oh.
Cover a lot of ground pretty quickly. Of course, you're not tied to the roads. You just go straight lines for the most part.
Yeah, we're only going 84. We have a 21 knot headwind right here. You always, 1200 means
maintenance Provo ground, taxi to the south ramp via Alpha.
VFR, visual flight rules. So the transponder is always sending a signal to the tower, and so everyone knows I'm visual flight rules. I'm not instrument, you know. If you
Provo Tower X-ray uniform 3 mile final.
If you have a radio outage,
runway 13
you tune into 7600 and it instantly tells the tower that I have a radio outage on their screen. If someone hijacks, there's a 7700 tells them you're hijacked and we'll fly around the other side of West Mountain here and go over Payson area and then go in. We're at 9,500 feet.
It's crazy.
Now we're going 95. We're crazy. We'll see how fast we go when we turn and go that way.
Provo Tower, Glass Star 199 Del Sierra, over Springville, inbounds with Lima.
Glass Star 199.
Okay, you have flight controls. You want to turn it?
3020 now.
All right.
So just put your left hand here. Put your feet out a little bit so your knees go down. Okay, and then all you do is just turn it slightly like this. And if to go up, you pull back, push to go.
2 Alpha uniform, left turn out to the freeway and northwestbound is approved.
Turn out towards freeway. We're going to head towards Spanish Fork.
I understand you're headed towards Spanish Fork. Then if you would make a right turn towards Spanish Fork.
Right turn towards Spanish Fork. Thanks so much, Alpha uniform.
Two people talking at the same time.
Turn to the south in the pattern at Spanish Fork. Altitude indicates 5,500 and frequency change approved to Spanish Fork advisory. See ya.
Frequency change approved. Thanks. Altitude Alpha uniform.
Helicopter 5 Delta Juliet taxiway Charlie cleared to land and then air taxi Charlie Alpha to TAC Air.
Taxiway Charlie cleared to land, then air taxi Charlie Alpha. Helicopter 5 Delta Juliet.
5 Delta Juliet, the wind
just barely put it down, so
F3.
push it forward just a touch,
3203,
and we'll start descending.
1236 Provo ground, roger.
See, and you can see the altimeter starting to go down.
Okay.
You can see